G'day and welcome again to WTF with Angela Heiser, Dr. Chris Willems and myself, Alan Stevens. Today we're talking about ghosting and unfriending people. Angela, you had a story the other day. What was that one again?
So this was ghosting in a professional context. I mean, ghosting is often, like I date somebody and then they're gone. But this one, I think it's starting to transfer also into everyday life. I had a window that fell out and I needed to get that fixed. And I contacted various tradespeople, and a couple of them didn't even bother calling me back. The number said, "Sorry, mate, not my job. I don't do this." The nice one said, "Here's somebody you can contact." Somebody said, "I'm on holidays, mate, call me next week." Somebody wanted a quote and then never showed up. When I talked to the next person, same thing. They said, "I'll see you tomorrow," didn't show. And then when this third person said, "Yeah, I'll come over," I said, "Are you sure you're going to come over? Please tell me you're going to come over, because this is not a nice situation." And when he showed up, I was just so grateful. But it's that what I find so hard is this it's almost that we throw away relationships. We've become disposable, and I get 200 emails every day. Most of them are not addressed to me. So delete, delete, delete. It's starting to translate into real life. And we forget about the meaningful relationships that we have. We don't get back to people, or we unfriend them immediately when there's a little bit of discord.
Yeah. That's it. The notion of disposable relationships relates to, I mean, it's to do with social media and the swipe mentality and the transactional nature of human interactions these days, and it's got to be short term, it's got to be instantaneous, and we're the instantaneous throwaway society, and it's really sad, and we don't often enough pursue those deeper conversations and relationships that make us human effectively. That's what makes us human. And so, and social media has basically driven the instantaneous nature of all, and transactional nature. And it's very sad. It's very sad indeed.
Yeah, well, one of the things is that we're finding, I said before, on social media, and that when somebody starts talking about an issue, it's 19 seconds before somebody jumps in with a response. And when they're doing that, they're really jumping in with their own emotions. They're not really, it's something to deal with them. It's not to do with the actual conversation. Next thing you know, there's fights and everything goes, and people then start disconnecting from each other. That break down. An example with myself, I was on social media. There was a comment, I'd put my comment against a post. Somebody else put a comment against it. And then I realized that they were actually having a bit of a go at me, but I realized, hang on, you're saying the same thing I'm saying, but you haven't realized it. So I put a little comment in just to test it out and to see. And they responded back, they fought back again, but I realized that they were talking about the same thing, but hadn't realized that the language we were using was just not matching up. It's like they were speaking Greek and I'm talking French, and I can't speak either of those, so I was really in trouble. But the end result was that I said in that next comment was, "I think you and I are talking about the same thing. I'm sending you a personal message and let's have a personal chat, the private chat." So I sent him the connection request through the messenger on Facebook. We had a conversation, and as we were going through it, he said, "Why did you respond that way?" He said, "I now realize, yes, we are talking about the same thing, but you could have responded the way I responded." And I said, "Well, look, I realize that was something else there, and I don't throw away relationships. I want to create relationships. It's what my business is about." As we were talking, the next thing you know, he's asking me to profile once he found out what I did, he paid me to profile his daughters. And then after that, he came to me to do my master program.
Oh,
so
wow.
you can imagine the opportunities that people are throwing away by taking that attitude to respond with their own emotions. This is why if somebody sends me a long email, I don't respond to that email. I won't have discussions by email. I will send directions and timing and things like that, but I will not have discussions by email because I can't hear the tone of voice. I can't see the person. I can't see their expressions.
And we're limiting ourselves so much because it's the swipe mentality, swipe left, whatever. When do you not like somebody? Do you swipe left or do you swipe right? I can't remember. I've never been
finding on a dating site.
But I did do some dating in the days, and I remember sitting. I had one date, And that was being, like we're talking, when you swipe somebody on the app, they don't know it. But I had this date, this guy sat down, looked me up and down, said hello, chatted for about 2 minutes, said, this is not working, stood up and walked away.
So,
And it was like, okay, so I was just being swiped, but it was one of those moments where when that takes disposable to a whole new level.
being swiped and deleted all in one.
And we don't, and this is the thing is, you can't meet somebody in 5 minutes.
No.
Dating, 5-10 minutes. Seriously, I mean, what do you base your questions on?
Well, it comes. Sorry, Angela, go on.
It takes 80 hours to create a reasonable level of friendship with somebody. If you want to get to know somebody really, really well, 200 hours.
Wow.
We're giving people 2 minutes.
Yeah. And that's live in your case too, not even online.
No.
But it comes down to authenticity and the humanness that we perceive or not in our interactions with people. I mean, I did a rant on LinkedIn a few months ago, and someone responded and toed and froed a bit, and they've ended up being a client of mine because we had this fantastic conversation because I was authentically saying, having a rant about IT or whatever, and people respond to that authenticity, and that's I like to quote fairly recently there was a branding expert who said people are responding to authenticity these days, and here's how you can use artificial intelligence to promote your authenticity. You go, do you realize what you just said? It's so bizarre. But yes, we do respond to authenticity, and I think hopefully, as a society, we're coming back to that a bit more after the instantaneousness and throwawayness of social media.
Yeah, we certainly do hope we're getting back to it.
Yes, indeed. We'll keep working. Well, we three having these conversations, we're actually trying to work on it consciously or otherwise. And I think it's again a case of opening a conversation and inviting others into that conversation as well, because we may be experts in what we do, but we don't know everything about everything, and so it's fantastic to start those conversations and have input from other people, other states of mind, and other perspectives. So that's why I love doing these things, the WTFs, because it's an opportunity to open a conversation.
That's it.
Yeah. So all I can say is, when you listen to this, you will notice that we don't always agree. We have different ways of handling situations. We say, oh yeah, that was a great way of dealing with this. May I suggest something else? That's what this is about. It's not about saying there's one way of dealing with this. There are so many different ways. It's the one that feels good to you. And I'm using the word good in quotes because there are so many. It feels comfortable. It comes from a place of integrity.
Yeah.
You can look yourself in the mirror, in the eyes, and say, I did the best that I could. I did it from a place of compassion, of empathy. Yes, maybe I would have had, sometimes we need to say no and say, I'm sorry, I can't deal with this right now. Let's talk about this later. But it's not about ghosting. It's not about deleting somebody, unfriending, whatever it is. It's about saying, let's use this as an opportunity to strengthen our relationship, to build more trust. Yeah. And that can be a 2-minute conversation at the supermarket.
Yeah.
That's another episode. You can listen to that one.
Very much a case of you don't have to be right.
No.
You just have to be doing the best that you possibly can. So Campfire, in the business of smiles, we walk up to people and we thank them for doing the best that they could. And they usually ask us, well, what are you talking about? Do you make the best decisions with the information you have? And they go, yes. And then we get into a conversation with them. There's more about that on another time. But what we're looking at there, we're not trying to find out, say, well, are you right? Did you do the best?
Yeah.
If you had new information, would you do it differently? Of course we would, because we've now got new information. So you don't have to be right in any of this. You just have to be genuine.
Yeah. Treat
people with respect, treat yourself, and by doing that, you have to also treat yourself with respect at the same time. If you want to be respected, respect yourself and respect other people, and they'll then return that.
Exactly.
Well said, Ellen. Well said.
Okay, so thank you everybody for watching and for listening. And hopefully this has given you some good food for thought. And let's continue the conversation and build bridges, one conversation at a time. Bridges of respect, because that's really what it boils down to. Join us next time. We'll see you soon.